You were listed in your last year at Wyoming as freshman head coach. Is that more of a mentorship? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it was more of a mentorship. A couple of guys were, I communicate with all the guys. I can relate to some of the guys. And some of the young guys were coming up to me and saying, you know what, I'm getting homesick. And I would say, you know what, I know that feeling. We just had conversations over and over again. And then I started going into the dorm. I started, going to the dorm and kind of seeing those guys because my family was not up there yet. So I say, hey, I'm going to be up in the dorms. Let's play some video games or let's play dominoes. And so I think Coach Bo recognized that. And, his intuition was, hey, listen, would you be okay if if you can kind of hang out with the freshmen a little bit just to make sure they don't sneak out in the middle of the night, and it was a good deal.
Because, males are very visual learners. And you can't really tell them something in a lecture. They got to see it on the screen, right? So I always try to make it to where they can always see a picture of it so they can gravitate to it. Now, granted, I've been in certain situations where maybe a kid doesn't learn like that. Maybe they or somebody actually has to go out there and rep it in a walkthrough. So if that's the case, then I got to find ways like that to get them to learn. Ultimately, my job is to get them to execute the scheme that Coach Barbay is wanting to run. Right? So,
I was really excited actually to do that, just to kind of, expand my base knowledge on everything and kind of get to learn, a new part of football. So it was pretty cool to do that for a year and then move back to the back end the next year.
Is there anything you learned in that year with linebackers that helps you back with the defensive backs?
Oh, yeah. Like when I was younger, just learning one position and that's kind of all you focused on. But, once you go to the, coach the outside linebackers and, you coach the safeties, the corners, and the nickels, you kind of have a better appreciation for everybody. And I think it definitely helps you, the kids aren't going to know everything, but you can give them bits and pieces to help. Like, hey, this is why the outside linebacker is doing this, and this is how it affects your run fit. Where, earlier in my career, I don't know if I understood all that in as much detail. So, yeah, I think it definitely helps, and then being in the room with Coach Wood. I mean, Coach Wood knows, he's coached, I think, all three levels of ball in his career. And so now, like, he can bounce ideas off of, not just, Coach Ross, myself, guys that have done it all. I think we can kind of group think some things a little bit better that way.
So, normally workouts start at 7 o'clock. If it's a day where we do not have football school, then offense will lift first at 7 and then defense will lift at 9 and we'll flip each week. So when the offense is lifting, we're in there as a coaching staff, all the offensive coaches, kind of going through, encouraging, reinforcing what Coach Hester's talking about as far as the workout. And then also just kind of getting to know our guys, seeing like what makes them tick, what makes this person go a little bit harder in this rep, what turns him off, right? Just so we have an idea when we get in the spring ball. Then we'll flip over and go into meetings where we'll kind of talk about what we're going to install for football school to where we can get the guys out there, run around a little bit and actually do some football. And after that, we'll meet as offensive staff at 1 and kind of talk about maybe some issues and install things that came up, questions that we have to get cleared up, and then start preparing for the following install coming up after that. Then we'll have a staff meeting. And then after staff, you kind of knock out the things you need to do to make sure maybe it's your meeting materials. Maybe it's a handout you want to give them, your presentations. And then after that, I'm kind of out the office around like 7 o'clock to go home. And then it's like rinse and repeat, right? And basically we'll be doing that up all the way up until we start spring ball.